Every time you install Windows, Microsoft forces you to sign in with a Microsoft account, and they add dozens of apps you never asked for. I mean, Microsoft 365 Copilot, Clipchamp, Microsoft Edge, OneDrive, Outlook, all of these stuff. Ugh, whether it's just disgusting. But there is a way to skip all of that, and in this video, I'm going to show you the exact method that I use every single time. And just as a side note, I built the tools that make this possible, Winhance and UnattendedWinstall, and together they've been downloaded more than 1 million times. Now to get started, you're only going to need 3 things. First off, you're going to need Winhance, then you'll also need a Windows ISO file, and lastly you'll need a USB flash drive, preferably 16 gigs or more, with Ventoy flashed onto that. But I'm going to take you through all of this step by step, so let's get started. Starting with Winhance. This is the Windows enhancement utility that I developed, and you can use it to customize your existing Windows experience. But in today's video, we're going to be using one of the advanced tools to create custom Windows ISO files. So my preferred way of installing Winhance is to just copy this PowerShell command from the downloads page. Then you can just right-click on your start button, open either the terminal or PowerShell as admin. Usually the terminal opens PowerShell on Windows. Then you can just right-click in this window to paste the install command and then press enter. What this is going to do is ask you if you want to do a normal installation of Winhance or a portable installation. Now for this video here, I'm just going to select a normal installation. You'll see it downloads the installer, then it automatically installs Winhance to your computer, and when it's finished, it's also going to launch Winhance automatically. Once it's launched, you'll be on the software and apps page. But we're going to navigate over to the advanced tools menu here on the left, and once we're inside of that, we're going to open the Windows Installation Media utility. This is going to allow us to create custom Windows installation media. Now, this is a 4-step process that you have to go through, and step 1 is to select a Windows ISO file. So you can see that currently I have no file selected, and if you don't have a Windows ISO downloaded yet, then you can use one of these buttons to either download Windows 10 or Windows 11 directly from the Microsoft software downloads page. So I'm going to download Windows 11. And you'll see it takes me directly to the Windows 11 downloads page on Microsoft's website. Here you just need to select the Windows 11 ISO file, then continue. Then you'll also need to select your preferred language. I'm just going to use English US and then continue. Now sometimes you might get this error that says we're unable to complete your request at this time. If this also happens to you, like it did to me while I was recording this video, then you can just refresh the Windows 11 downloads page and go through the exact same process where you select the Windows ISO file, select your language and then confirm, and then eventually it will give you a download link for the Windows ISO file. So once the ISO file has been downloaded to your computer, then you can go back to the Windows Installation Media utility in Winhance. You can then select your ISO file, navigate to where it's saved on your computer. For me, it's the downloads folder. Then you can just open it. Now by default, the working directory where these files will be extracted to is your temp folder in your user's app data folder, but you can also select another folder. I'm going to select the desktop in this example and then just click on start extraction, and it's then going to start extracting the ISO files. Now this process can take quite a while because the ISO file is quite big. Like I said, it's almost 7 gigs in size, so you'll just have to be patient and wait for this to complete. Once it's finished, you're going to see that the ISO extracted successfully, and then you can click on OK to continue. The next step here is to add an XML file. Now, the XML file is where all of the magic happens. This is the file that's going to tell Windows no forced Microsoft account, no bloatware, and no telemetry. This all happens during the installation process of Windows. Now, you need to select one of the following options. You can also use Winhance to generate and add a Winhance XML based on your current selections in Winhance. But for this video, to keep it simple, we're going to be using the UnattendedWinstall pre-configured autounattend.xml file that I also created. So to add that, just click on the download button to download and add the UnattendedWinstall XML. And you can see by the green check mark that this step has now been complete. Now onto the next step, which is extracting and adding drivers. So you can extract and add the drivers from your current operating system, and it'll then add them to the Windows installation media. So this is going to be perfect for you if you're reinstalling Windows on the exact same hardware, because once you get to the desktop, your Wi-Fi is going to work immediately, your audio is going to work immediately. All of those drivers will be already installed. Once it's finished, you'll see that the system drivers have been extracted and added to the installation media, and then we can continue to the next step. It's time to create the new ISO file. Now, this needs the OSCD image exe to create the ISO file. So if you don't have it installed already, you'll need to download it first. But there's also a convenient download button for you to download and install this via Winget. Then once it's been installed, you can then go ahead and create your new ISO file. So you can select an output location. I'm going to select the desktop and just change the file name and then click on Create ISO. This is now going to start creating the ISO for us. And this will also take quite a while depending on the size of the ISO that gets produced. Now, while Winhance is creating this custom Windows ISO file for us, we can go ahead and install Ventoy onto our USB flash drive. And Ventoy is just a software that makes the flash drive bootable. Now you can either install Ventoy manually or via Winhance. I'm going to show you both. If you navigate to the file and disk management software in the external software in Winhance, you'll find Ventoy and you can then install it with Winhance. And once it's finished installing, you'll find it in the start menu. You'll have a Ventoy folder, and inside of that folder, you'll have the Ventoy to disk file that you'll need to run to install Ventoy on the USB flash drive that you'll be creating. But you can also download and install it manually from the GitHub page. You can go to the latest Ventoy release, and then in the assets, you can just find the Windows zip file for Ventoy. Once that's downloaded, you can just extract the files to a folder, and then inside of that folder, you'll need to run the Ventoy to disk file, which will open this window. Then you'll also need to plug in your USB flash drive into your computer so that Ventoy can detect it. Select the correct USB flash drive and then click on the install button to install Ventoy onto that USB flash drive. Now, very important, all the data that's currently saved on this USB flash drive will be deleted. It will be lost. So you'll need to enter yes in this box here and then also accept the warning that the drive will be formatted and the data will be lost. So if you have any important data, copy that to another drive first and then install Ventoy onto the USB flash drive. Once it's installed, you'll find a Ventoy labeled partition in this PC. There will also be a Ventoy EFI partition, but we're using the Ventoy partition, and this is where we'll be copying the ISO file. Speaking of that, the ISO file has been created successfully, and it's been saved to my desktop. So I'm going to open the folder. There we can find it, the Winhance Windows 11 ISO file on the desktop. So now I'm just going to right-click this, just going to copy it, navigate over to the Ventoy USB flash drive, and then go ahead and paste it onto the Ventoy flash drive. So the Winhance Windows 11 ISO file has finished copying to the Ventoy USB flash drive. Now I'm just going to go ahead and close all of this. We can also go ahead and close Winhance. If you close it, you'll find a support message. If you want to support the application and support my work, feel free to do so. I really appreciate that if you do. But let's go ahead and restart. So once your computer restarts, you'll need to press your boot menu key. For me, it's F12 to get into the boot menu, so I can select the boot device. And now I'm going to select the UEFI USB, which is the Ventoy USB. And I've got two boot options here. I've got a normal Windows 11 25H2 ISO file, and then the Winhance Windows 11 ISO file. Now I want to install Windows with the Winhance Windows 11 ISO file, so I'm going to select that, press enter, and then press enter to boot in normal mode, and then it's going to start booting from that ISO file. Once it's booted from the ISO file, you'll see the same setup screens that you normally see on a Windows installation. You'll need to select your language, the time and currency format, your keyboard settings. After that, you'll need to provide a product key or select the option that you don't have a product key. So you can select the edition you want to install. For me, it's Windows 11 Pro, so I'll select that and then continue. And then lastly, we'll need to partition our drive. So I've got one SSD in this computer, and I'm just going to delete all of the partitions on it. Now, this is deleting all of the data off of the SSD, but I don't have anything important saved. If you have important files saved on your SSD or hard drive that you're installing Windows 2, you'll need to make a backup of that first and copy the files over to another location so that you don't lose them when you do the reinstall of Windows. But I've now got disk 0 with only unallocated space, so I'll select that and then click on next so we can get this Windows installation started. You'll just need to wait for it to complete, and then finally, once it's complete, you'll be taken to the onboarding experience or the out-of-box experience. Now here you'll still need to select your country or region, so go ahead and do that. Then also select your keyboard layout, but this is where the Winhance Windows ISO file is different than the Microsoft ISO file. You're not going to be forced to sign in with a Microsoft account. In fact, you can only sign in with a local account. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter my username, which is memory. I'll leave the password blank because we don't have to enter a password. And then we're going to load into our user. You'll see it's not going to try download any updates. It's not going to prompt you for any privacy questions because all of that privacy tracking and telemetry has already been turned off. It's already been disabled by default. Now that we've gotten to the desktop, you can see it's clean and minimal. If I open the start menu, it's clean, no pinned items at all. Only the most useful Microsoft apps are installed. There's no Edge, no OneDrive, no Microsoft 365 Copilot. And then if we navigate to the settings and then open some of these settings, you can see they've all been turned off. The same thing with the diagnostics and feedback. All of these privacy settings have already been disabled during the installation of Windows. But we're still not done because we still need to install software. So you've got the install Winhance shortcut on the desktop. And if you double click on that, it's going to run the same Winhance installer we've ran before, where it prompts you for a normal installation or a portable installation. Once again, I'm just going to select the normal installation and then get Winhance installed on this new Windows installation that we've got here. Once it's open, you'll be on the Windows Apps and Features page, and you can see only 4 items is installed at the moment for me. So it's a really clean Windows install. But to install third-party software, we can go over to the External Software tab. And this is where you're going to find stuff like browsers and a whole bunch of other useful utilities. So in this example, I'm just going to install Brave. And I'm also going to select 7-zip. And then lastly, also just the Media Player Classic Black Edition. And in this example, I'm just going to install those 3 items. So I'll just go ahead and click on the Install Selected Items button. Click on Continue. And it's then going to start installing these items. You can also click on the progress bar down there to get the terminal output of these installations. Now, what this is so great for is you don't have to manually go and download all of the installers for the software that you usually want to install on your computer. You can just select them, click on the install button, and then Winhance is going to handle that for you automatically. You can then go and do something else, like go and drink coffee or whatever you want to do. And when you get back, all of the selected software that you want to have installed on your fresh Windows installation will be installed. In addition to that, you can now also use Winhance to change any settings in Windows that you might not be happy with. You can go through the different optimizations and customizations that it has to offer and then change the settings to your desired state. But at least now you have a clean Windows installation right from the start, and you don't have to waste time setting up Windows after doing a clean installation. It's already done for you as part of the Windows installation process. And it's really simple. You just download Winhance, open it, use the Windows installation media utility, provide a valid Windows ISO file, run it through WIMUtil, and then copy that over to your Ventoy USB flash drive, and you can get a clean install of Windows in under an hour. Like I said before, you can also support the project if you want. The donations really help me to keep this project going and help me to improve my work. But this is how to install Windows the right way. And if this was helpful, please hit subscribe. I make videos about Windows and software every week. And if you've never seen my full tutorial video on Winhance and everything that you can do with it, I highly suggest that you check out the video on screen now, because it's going to show you everything that the app can do. You can also create your own perfect Windows installation based on your selections in Winhance, so that you don't have to rely on the pre-configured unattended.xml XML file. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and watch this video on screen now, and I'll see you there.